Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show, where you'll find health and fitness inspiration, motivation, and information shared in 15-minute episodes. Tune in while getting a move on to make leading and enjoying the benefits of a healthy lifestyle almost too easy. It's the Fit 15. And now your host, Catherine Basu.
Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show. I'm your host, Catherine Basu, and can we just talk about the Boston Marathon for a minute? I know today's episode is going to run over my ideal episode length of 15 minutes, and this is not going to help, but I guess all I really want to say is that if you did not watch the Boston Marathon yesterday, I hope that you will go and check out highlights, check out the news and see what happened, because they didn't really share much in the news, I feel like, about it, or not enough for what I would have liked. And I can't think of another day when I've been more inspired by several athletes on the field, especially the winners of the race. Both the men's and women's winners have very inspirational stories, had great days. So check that out. I won't try to spoil it for you or say too much and ruin today's episode or get off topic here, I guess. But I could not let the intro go by without having you check out the results of Boston 2018 and getting that inspiration as soon as possible, even though I might talk about it on another episode. All right, so today's episode is not about running, actually. It is a continuation of an episode I had last week with Crazy Snowshoe Guy, but we're also not going to be talking about hanging out in snow-covered mountains. Instead, we're going to talk about visiting another awesome place in Utah. So not Snowbird, which we had focused on a little bit in the previous episode, and snowshoeing, but Zion National Park. So Greg Free is my guest today, and he was born and raised in the Wasatch Mountains in Utah, spends a lot of time snowshoeing, is also the marketing manager for an adventure resort located on the east rim of Zion National Park called Zion Ponderosa. And at the end of our chat about Snowbird, we started talking about Zion and decided to make it into an episode for you. So we have some great tips here, but definitely go back and check out the first episode and today's show notes, because Greg is a man of many talents and at least 3 jobs. So he is the marketing manager for Zion Ponderosa, but he also is a snowshoe and hiking guide at Snowbird, which is how I met him when I took my first snowshoeing lesson last month. And he has started his own foundation, the Glowosaurus Foundation, which helps ill and injured children during a time of need. We're probably going to talk about that more in a future episode, but definitely a man of lots of information and inspiration when it comes to fitness. So without further ado, adding Greg back in here to talk about Zion National Park.
Zion National Park is really, I think, the gem in Utah, and we got some doozies. We have got some beautiful scenery here. But Zion National Park is where it all comes together. And, I had a cabin for over 15 years there on the east rim of Zion.
Okay.
And that's where it changed my life forever, in the fact that I fell in love with that place. And I would go down there 10, 15, 20 times a year, and in all seasons, in all weather and conditions. And I would be really most of the time by myself. So I would be alone with my thoughts and my ideas and my, how you ponder things when you're out in nature. You think about your life, you think about where you're going, and you kind of chart your course, where you want to sail. And, you're like a sailor with your boat, and you're going, which way do I want to go and travel? And what am I doing with my life? And all that stuff, and we kind of talked about that on snowshoeing, about how you look upstream on the bridge and you think about what you want to come into your life, and the river brings it to you as it comes towards you. And then you turn around on that bridge and you watch the river flow away, and you say, okay, now I want to let something go from my life, something that's not really making me a better person or whatever. And you let it go, and the river carries it away. Well, you're sitting there in Zion National Park and you're up on the East Rim coming in from, like, say, Zion Ponderosa, and you don't have to go to Zion Ponderosa. You can hike from the valley floor and go up to Observation Point, and that will be one of your most spectacular hikes. You go up this canyon, Echo Canyon, you get up on top, and you got this view looking down and back that's just unbelievable. And the Little Virgin River has carved out this canyon through millions of years, okay, eons of time. And you're just sitting up there just like, it's breathtaking, and it's silent, and it's just magnificent. And you think about, at least I thought about my problems and what was going on in my life, and this thing with my son and all that stuff with his AVM and brain surgeries and how it's affected him and us and my family and on and on. And I think about, in the amount of time it took to carve this canyon, how many problems of the world could fill it up,
Yeah.
And you just can't fill it up. And yet there it is for me now to throw in the things that bothered me in my life and the struggles and the hardships and the things I need to get rid of. There it is. And I just pour it in. I mean, I literally had it set in my mind that I'm throwing my whole self into that canyon.
Mm-hmm,
And this is how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to come running down that trail, and I am not going to slow down. And when I hit the edge, I'm pushing off this thing and doing the biggest crazy snowshoe guy jump I've ever done in my life. And that's how it'll all end. And thankfully, I read my daughter's poem.
Yeah, I feel like I need to know what this poem was.
Holy crap. Well, it's from memory. It was basically, my love is here within your grasp. Faith and courage is with God and is all around you.
Wow.
My 6-year-old daughter wrote that. Are you kidding me? Anyway, hey, from there, I started exploring slot canyons and...
Hey guys, I hate to interrupt the inspiration here, but that is your halfway point reminder. If you are going for a 15-minute out and back walk and need to turn around, that is your cue to do so now. All right, back to Greg.
And the Zion Ponderosa guides would take me out into places that they knew on their days off, because you can't guide in the park on rappelling adventures. But I became friends with their staff, and we'd go down there and in the off days when they had their days off, and I'd hook up with them, and they'd teach me how to rappel. They would teach me about equipment and gear and routes and how to do this safely. And it changed my life. I mean, I'm in these places. I went in this one place called Mystery Canyon that really enlightened me in so many ways. And your very last rappel in there takes you down into the world famous Zion Narrows. And that whole adventure, you're afraid to leave footprints. It's just that beautiful. It's that pristine. It's like nothing has changed in there in a million years or more. Okay. There are no signs of life other than the group you're with. And that's pretty special. Where can you go and find that? But you really get to know the people you're with, because all barriers are down and people cry on your shoulder and they give you hugs and you laugh and you just get carried away in the time and the moment. And it's a life-changing experience to get into one of these slot canyons and with people and even complete strangers, and you end up becoming friends, But through all of that, I mean, I've been in the Subway, which is another world famous iconic hike. And I've been in there and there's been a monarch butterfly hatch, and there's been millions of monarch butterflies landing on me like bees attracted to pollen, and just unreal.
Yep.
And just, I don't know, I can't say enough cool about that. But then there's your basic hikes and your basic adventures. And when it's hot, because, you talk about the good times. I mean, look, I like going down there now in the wintertime because it's the off season and the tourists are few and far between, and it's mostly local, and you kind of get the park to yourself in a way. It's not like that now because it's discovered. I mean,
Right.
when I first was going down that way, maybe 20 years ago, there was maybe 2 million visitors a year, and now we're busting at about 4 million visitors a year. So
Wow.
we've doubled down, and
Yeah.
4 million people in 1 year. Everyone wants to come in the summer,
Yep.
But so imagine that. But here you are, you're in Zion, and there's so much to see and do that you just really need. Honestly, you need a week. You need more. I mean, I could spend the rest of my life exploring nothing but canyons in Zion National Park and die without seeing everything.
I mean, I bet, because I'm just looking at the map because I was like, okay, I have to see how far this is from Snowbird, and because I haven't been yet myself, and just kind of zooming in, you can see. I mean, actually, if people want to get a little taste, even although I'm sure you guys have really good photos on the Instagram, so that's probably better. But yeah, I'm just looking at all these little places and all these amazing photos. So definitely not a scene for podcasting. They need to go look at photos. But
yeah, no, well, sure, how do you describe these things? You really can't. It takes your breath away, and you can't find the words to describe the beauty in which you are now in, and I think that the fun of it too is learning about things on your own when you're down there. You find what you like and what your group likes, and if I could give you 3 recommendations of must do, number 1 would be to explore the world famous Zion Narrows.
okay.
And don't just do it during the day when all the tourists are out and things like that. I mean, you have to do that. You've got to do it. You got to see Zion Narrows in the summertime and walk up that riverside walk, get down into the river and meander up those giant towering cliffs and watch it narrow. And spend as much time as you can in there. Use a hiking stick, get you some booties. Zion Ponderosa rents booties and hiking sticks and things like that to keep you comfortable. And because the more time you spend in there, the more it will change your life. And when you come out of there, you'll be blown away. But if you go up there at night and you're under moonlight and you hear the frogs croaking, and the sounds of crickets and the beautiful stars and the canyon just swallows them up, and that's another treasure. I mean, I hike in the night as much as I do in the day, and that's part of the beauty. But so do that. Number 1, Zion Narrows. Number 2 would be to go up and do Angel's Landing, hiking from the canyon floor, going through Walter's Wiggles and really testing your grit and your salt and getting up there to a place called Scouts Lookout. In Scouts Lookout, you'll look out and you can see down into the canyons and see into Springdale and out to the west, and you can turn around and you can look up and see the scenic Canyon Drive going up into the Zion Narrows, and you can really just be like, wow, this is unbelievable, but you're not there yet. Now you go up the final ascent to Zion Angel's Landing, which is kind of sketchy for a lot of people, and some people, for whatever reason, just know they can't do it. They lock up, they freeze, they're terrified. There's 2,000 feet on either side of you, 1,500, 2,000, and you're walking on something about 3 feet wide, and it kind of freaks people out.
Yeah.
But when you get up there, if you can do that, you've conquered your fear, you've tested your limits, you're up there in a magnificent view, your head's in the clouds, and you're just going, wow, you're just, it's an amazing hike. It really is. It's iconic. And then 3rd would be to go out, and I mean, here's the thing, is it's like I weigh these like in my hands, left hand, right hand, which one do I love the most?
Right.
You have Observation Point and you have Cable Mountain, okay? And because I said there'd be only 3, I'm going to have to just say, go to Observation Point.
Okay.
Okay. If you can do 4, go to Cable Mountain next. But, I could go on and on and on. From Cable Mountain, you go to Deer Trap, and, there's just all these experiences. But, go to Observation Point because, and in the order I told you, because when you get to the end of Observation Point, which, by the way, is one of the most spectacular hikes through the forest on the east rim of Zion National Park that you will ever find. It is just no people. You are by yourself the entire way out. You might see maybe 10 people on a busy day.
Okay.
And I like to go out there for sunrise. Sunrise on Observation Point is the ultimate way to start your day. The light just comes into the canyon. It lights it up. It's right there fresh, a whole new day in front of you, and look where you are. And when you look down off that point at Observation Point, you will see all of out in front of you of Springdale and all west. You can practically see California,
Wow, yeah,
I don't want to sound like Sarah Palin and tell you I can see Russia from there, but you can see a long ways. And you can look down on Angel's Landing where you once were and just go, wow, I was there, but now you're looking down on Angel's Landing. It's pretty crazy.
No, it sounds amazing. Now I know why my dad always wanted to go out there, and now I need to go find a way to get myself out. No, I'm excited to check it out. Really
yeah, the secret to Zion is really a personal journey, and it has something for everyone. And quite frankly, the little treasures and places I've found are some of the most harshest yet beautiful places I've ever been. And there's really not a lot of forgiveness out there. If you screw up, you're in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You may never make it out. And these slot canyons provide that. And then you find yourself in these little swim holes where it might be 110 degrees and life is just a quiet little hum, and you find yourself laying out in the sun, warming your body from a cold swim, or where waters were maybe barely above freezing, clear in August.
Wow.
But there's a lot of places, and I could just suggest to anybody out there listening that if you were in Zion, you should seek out Zion Ponderosa Ranch Resort and go up there and take their guided hiking tour, The Secrets of Zion. You'll learn decades of cool things with that Secrets of Zion tour. And then you can do it later on your own and spend a lot of time, because
Sure.
they have to brush over things pretty quick.
Yeah.
But you will definitely be glad you did it. And then you'll go back and do it again later on your own and maybe branch out from there and explore a little more.
Now, on that tour, Greg, do they cover the top 3.5 that you mentioned, or are those additional ones that you recommend?
They do not cover those.
Okay.
Those are the big 3 iconic you must do hikes everybody out there.
Okay, so they're not secret.
The Secrets of Zion are just that. They are secrets that look, you can find on your own, but literally, like I said, 15 years owning my own cabin, going down there, I found these places, and I thought that I pretty much found, all there was to see there over the years, and boy, was I wrong. And it just kept opening up and opening up and opening up, and then I'd get talking to the people, the family members at the Ponderosa, and they would tell me about their secrets, and I just keep finding all these different secrets, and it goes forever. And some of those secrets they've decided to share with their guests. Every valued guest of Zion Ponderosa Ranch Resort really has an opportunity to do these things with the Secrets of Zion tour and leave a better person. It's kind of a, it's basically their whole mission statement is to inspire the love of Zion in every valued guest. And, sometimes it's hard to do when it gets crazy in the summer and things are, just going crazy around there. But
yeah,
you take the time as a guest to ask the right questions and make sure that your experience is pre-booked, like pre-book your canyoneering. I mean, that's a bucket list.
Okay.
You want to canyoneer, pre-book that thing before you ever show up, and you will have the time of your life. Same with their Jeep tours and anything else that they offer, including the Secrets of Zion tour.
See? All right, so now I have to ask for those top 3 to 3.5, if you were going to make a trip, how long would it take to see those in like even small detail, like those different ones, just for someone trying to plan out?
Well, someone like you, Catherine, you could probably run that thing and have it all seen in about 6 hours.
Okay.
But you'd be running the whole time.
I'd say that I might be like halfway or maybe even a third of the way to my training for the runs that your brother-in-law does. So I would seriously say you want a day for each one of those excursions, because you want to be able to make it your whole purpose for that day. It's like you go to bed that night for 4 and you go, tomorrow I am going to Angel's Landing or up the Narrows or whatever. And you prepare for it. You talk about it. You say, what am I going to need? And you gear up on it. And, you might make a picnic lunch. You might do some things like that. And, you might get the booties, and depending on the time of year, maybe even a wetsuit. I don't know. But you need to plan for at least a day for each one of these things, because guess what? You are in the middle of Zion National Park, and weather happens. It can be downpour and rain, and waterfalls are busted loose everywhere in the canyon. And you say, whoa, we can't go in Zion Narrows. It's flash flood. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Now, Zion Narrows trip went off the chart of your bucket list, 3 things to do. But in the end, you ended up with the most spectacular waterfall pictures and cruising around in the park, doing all these other little things like, I don't know, Weeping Rock and emerald pools and whatever else you felt like doing. And that day's gone. And now you got to go, wow, you wake up the next day and it's a beautiful sunny day. And you go, I wonder if Zion Narrows is doable. Well, the water flow is still pretty high. They're not going to let you in there. So you go and you do the other things on your bucket list. You might say, I'm going to go do Angel's Landing. So you do Angel's Landing. You get done with Angel's Landing. You're probably spent and you're looking forward to a nice dinner and relaxing by the pool or sitting in the hot tub and, whatever. But then you're cramming in the last day 2 things, and that's doable. What you do is you go out and you do, and that's again that order. You go out, you do observation point, you check that out, and you go, wow. And now here's the thing is you can continue on from observation point. Like, here's what you would do. This is what I would do.
Yeah.
I would book it with Zion Ponderosa, say I want a shuttle from Springdale back up here to my home cabin, glamping tent, Western wagon, whatever you're staying, whatever your accommodation, I want to get back here. And so you'd book it with them.
Okay.
And then you'd go out to observation point. You'd do an hour over that. You'd take the trail down into Echo Canyon. You'd end up down at, Weeping Rock. You'd get on the shuttle. The shuttle would take you up to Zion Narrows. You get to the very end of the Zion Narrows, and you get off the shuttle, and you hike up the Riverside Walk, and you go up to Zion Narrows, and you won't be able to go as far as you originally wanted because of time, but you'll get a taste of it.
Yeah,
so now your 3 days, you still got them all in, and then some bonuses of some waterfalls or some crazy things, right?
Yep.
But give yourself at least 3 days in Zion. That's a minimum.
So maybe it's kind of a place where you have to, do your first run and then maybe come back year after year.
Year after year. No, really, seriously, it drives my wife nuts because she's like, well, we can go to the Bahamas or something, and I'm like, we could, Uh, I'm
It's funny,
terrible.
I'm such a beach bum, so I always want to take beach vacations. But then when I do go and venture out and do something like Zion sounds like, then I'm like, okay, I'm glad that I didn't stay at the beach the whole time.
Yeah, true. And the thing is you see when you get to Zion and you do all that, well, right next door is Bryce Canyon. And
Okay,
Bryce Canyon is amazing, and you spend time there. I kind of like to think of Zion as my base camp for adventure because
okay.
when I'm there, everything else is all around me, even the Grand Canyon.
I know.
It's
I've
right
noticed. I mean,
there.
my geography is obviously not very good because I was looking at the map and I was like, wow, I didn't realize. So it's pretty good. Lots
Yeah,
going on.
it's true. I mean, there's this place down there right close to Zion in the town. Well, you kind of go towards this old western town called Kanab. And
Okay.
Kanab is, where John Wayne, the movie star, spent a lot of time filming westerns, right?
Mm,
And that's worth seeing. But on the way from Zion to Kanab, which is really, I don't know the mileage, don't quote me on this, it might be 17 miles, somewhere's around there, not very
okay.
far.
Yep.
Okay. You're going to pass by the Coral Pink Sand Dunes. And the Coral Pink
Oh.
Sand Dunes is a state park that you've got this red rock from all of our wonderful canyons and places from Lake Powell and Bryce Canyon and Zion that have, like, through the years of erosion, all the wind has carried the sand into this one spot. It's like the Coral Pink Sand Dunes. And you got sand dunes as far as you can see that are coral pink with green ponderosa pine trees coming out of it, and
Mm.
all this, like, it's like you swear you're dreaming, this is not real. And you could spend a day in there and you just keep going. There's just like so much to see and do down there in that area of our state of Utah that you just kind of go, man, I got to come back year after year after year after year. And in the meantime, my wife's going Bahamas, 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 Bahamas.
Okay, maybe you give it to her one. You have to give it one time this Bahamas trip.
It's her turn now. Yeah, you're okay.
A
So,
different kind of
anyways,
pink sand, right? A different kind of pink sand dune over there then.
yeah, no, it's crazy. But hey, yeah, over there in the Bahamas, I can't wait for the white sand and the turquoise water and snorkeling. And you never know, I may retire in a place like that. But for now, I can't leave. I got family on both coasts, California and New York, and I go visit them. And I can't wait to get back to my home here in the Wasatch Mountains because it's just who I am.
Yeah, no, I mean, I need to be near a beach. That's one of my things, but like just I can see, I was very impressed when I flew into Utah and checked out Salt Lake City and then was up at Snowbird and like, man, I gotta get out more. So
Well, we all
Utah's
do.
very
It's a big
impressive.
world out there, and let's go see it. And I think it's cool how it all ties back into fitness because the fitter you are, and you don't got to be some super duper fit person, but you do need to be able to say, hey, I can carry my own weight for an hour, you know?
Right, right. No, that's
And
very true.
the more you can do that to yourself and to do that, the more you get to see because um, there's a lot out there and we only got a little time to live. So let's make the most of it.
No, that's very true. Always think about because sometimes people are like, well, investing the time, even not even working with a personal trainer. Beyond that, just investing the time to take care of themselves and stay healthy. People don't want to do, but when they're busy working in their working years, but you're not going to be able to enjoy it when you retire if you can't walk very well, right? So yeah, let
No,
alone do
so
anything else.
true.
So yeah,
So true. And I've always said that. I said, why we got it backwards, man. We ought to get time off when we're young and healthy and able to do stuff. And then when we get to a certain age, like my age, now I sell myself to the man and I'm yours.
right, right, right. That's
I
true.
will work nonstop for you, and I don't know.
See, I
Yeah, but
mean, there's
no, it
something
don't
to
work
that.
that way.
You never know. We might have to change to that at some point, right? The way we're going, sometimes I wonder. So
Well, it'd be a perfect world, but certainly for now, you just pick your priorities and you focus on it and you go for it and you do all you can to achieve what you want to do in life, whatever that is, and keep focused on those goals and you'll get there.
see. Well, Greg, so glad we got to do a little sneak peek behind Zion National Park, because you're going to come back and maybe share some more tips at some point.
I will definitely come back, and we
We'll
can
have to
set
get-
this up, a little bit, and I'll give you
Yeah.
some photos. And it's been a treat, and thank you again.
Well, my pleasure, Greg. Thanks for staying a little longer to share some more of Utah's gems with us.
Thanks for listening to the Fit 15. For show notes and more, visit fitarmadillo.com/podcast. See you next time.